Hey everyone, in this video we are going to talk about what money and banking. It's going to be a economics playlist part. Yeah. Money is commonly accepted medium of exchange in economy which consists of only individual. There cannot be an exchange of commodities and hence there is no role of money. Even if there is more than one individual, but these individuals do not take part in the market transaction. Example: family living in a on an isolated island. Money has been no function for them. However, as soon as there is more than economic agent who engage themselves in transaction through the market, money became an important instrument for facilitating these exchange. Economic exchange without the meditation of many are referred as a barter exchange. However, they presume the rather improbable double coincidence of wants. Consider, for example, an individual who has a surplus of rice which she wishes to exchange for clothing. If she is not lucky enough to, she may not able to find was dramatically opposite demand of rice with surplus of clothing offer in exchange. The research cost may become prohibitive and number of individual increase. Thus, to smoothen the transaction, an intermediate goods is necessary, which is acceptable parties such a is called such a good is called money. An individual can then sell the produce of money as use the money to purchase the commodities they need. Through facilitation of exchange is considered to be principal role of money. It is serve the other purpose as well. Following the main function of money is modern economy. Function of money, as explained above, the first and foremost role of money is that it act as a medium of exchange. Water exchange become extremely difficult to large economy because of the high cost people would have in a cure looking for suitable person or exchange their surplus. Money also act as a convenient unit of account. The value of goods and services can be expressed and in a monetary unit. When we say that the value of certain wristwatch of is rate 500, we can mean that a wristwatch can be exchanged for 500 rupee of money, which where a unit of money is rupee. In the case of the principal price of the pencil is rate 200 and then that of the pen is rate 10, we can calculate the relative price of the pen with respect to the pencil worth 5 pencil. The same notion can be used to calculate the value of the money if itself with respect to the other commodity. In the above example, a room is worth 1 divided by pencil, and thus if price of the all commodities in term of money there general increase in the price level, the value of money in term of the commodity have decreased in the sense that a unit of money can now purchase less of any commodity. We can call it deterioration in purchasing power of money. A water system has been deficiencies. It is difficult to carry forward one wealth under the water system. Suppose you have a endowment of rice which you do not wish to consume today entirely. You may regard the stock of surplus rice an asset which may wish to consume or even sell off or for acquiring other commodities at further date. But rice is a perishable them and cannot be stored beyond a certain period. Also, holding the stock of rice require a lot of space. You may have a spent considerable amount of resource looking for people demand for rice when you wish to exchange your stock of buying other commodities. This problem can be solved if you sell your rice for money. Money is not perishable, it is store cost and considerable low. It has also acceptable to anyone at point of time. Thus money can act as a store of value of individual wealth can be stored as a form of money for the future use. To perform this function well, the value of money must be sufficiently stable. A rising price level may erode the purchasing power of money. It may be noted that any asset other than money can also be acted as a store of value. Example: gold, landed property, houses, or even bond introduced shortly. However, they may not able to easily convertible in other commodities or do not have a universal acceptable. Some countries have made an attempt to move toward an economy which use less of cash, more of digital transaction. A cashless society describe an economic state where financial transactions are not connected with the money and for physical banknotes or coin, but rather than through a transfer of digital information using an electronic representation of money between the transacting parties. In Indian government has been consistently investing various reform of greater financial income during the last few years. Initiatives such as Jan Dhan account, Aadhaar enabled payment system, e-wallet, national financial switch. Stringent, the government resolved the go castle today. Financial inclusion is seen as a realistic dream because of the mobile and smart card phone penetration across the country. Demand and for money and supply for of money. Demand for money. The demand for money tell us that what make people desire to certain account of money. Since money is required to conduct transaction, the value of transaction will determine the money of viewer who want to keep. The larger of quantum transaction to be made, the larger is the quantity of economy demanding the since the quantum of transaction is made depend upon the income, it should be clear that rise in income would be led to rise in amount of money. Also, when people keep their saving in the form of money rather than putting it in, which gives them an interest, how much money people keep also depend upon the rate of interest, especially when interest rate goes, people become less interested in holding money since holding money amount is to holding less of interest earning deposit and thus less interest received. At higher interest rate, people demand to come down. Supply of money in modern economy, money comprises cash and bank deposit. Depending on what type of bank deposit were included, there are many money measures of money. They are created by system correspond comprising two type of institutions: central bank and economy commercial bank system. Central bank is a very important institution of a modern economy. Almost every country has one central bank. India is called central bank 1935. It is non-reserve bank of India. Central bank has a several important function. It issues the currency of the country. It controls the money supply of the country through various methods like bank rate, open market operation, variation in reserve rate. It acts as banker of the government. It is the custodian of the foreign exchange reserve of economy. It also acts as the bank of the banking system, which discussed in detail later. Commercial bank are the other type of the institution which are part of the money creating for system of the economy. In the following section, we look commercial banking system in detail. They accept deposit from the public and lend out this fund to those who want to borrow. The interest rate paid by the bank to depositor is lower than the rate charged by the borrower. The difference between these two type of the interest rate called the spread is called the profit approach by the bank. The process of deposit and loan credit creation by the bank is exactly low. In order to understand, let us discuss the story. Once there was a goldsmith named Halala in the village. Village, people used to gold and other precious metal in order to buy goods and service. In other words, these metals were acting as a money. People in the village started keeping their gold with Lala and safekeeping. In return, keeping the gold, Lala issued paper receipt to people of the village and charged a small fee of them. Slowly, over time, the paper receipt issued by Lega began to circulate as a money. This means that instead of giving gold for purchasing bead, somebody would pay for what or shoes or giving the paper receipt issued by Lala. Thus, paper receipt started acting as a money since everyone in the village accepted this medium of exchange. Money creation in banking system. Banks are creating money in a manner similar to the Lala story. Banks can lend money simply because they do not accept the deposit to withdraw with what they deposit at the same time. When the banks lend any person, a new deposit is open in the person name. The money supply increases to old deposit plus new deposit. Let take an example. Assume that there is only one bank in the country. Let us construct a fictional balance sheet of the bank. Balance sheet is a record of assets and liabilities of any firm. Conventionally, the assets of the firm are recorded on the left side and liabilities on the right hand side. Accounting rules says that the both sides of the balance sheet must be equal to the total asset must total liabilities. Assets are the thing a firm owns, what a firm can claim with other. In case of bank, apart from building, furniture, etc., it asset the loans give to public. When a bank gives loans rupees to person, this is the bank claim to the person of front. Another asset that bank of reserve are deposit which commercial bank keep with central bank. Reserve bank the cash. The reserve are the kept partially as a cash and part in the form of financial instrument bond. Reserve are similar to the deposit we keep with the banks. We keep deposit and these deposit are our asset. They can be withdrawn by a similarly commercial bank like a state bank company keep their deposit like anywhere. Balance sheet of fictional bank. How many minutes has been covered already? About 10 minutes already going to be complete. Let us fictional bank start with deposit liability equal to 100. This could be because MS Fernandez has deposited Rs 100 in the bank, let the bank deposit amount RBI reserve. Limit of the credit creation of the money supply. Suppose Mr. Matthew comes to the bank for a loan of Rs 500. Can our bank gives this loan? If gives the loan and Mr. deposit the loan amount in the bank itself, the total bank deposit and therefore the total supply. It seems to as though as a bank can go creating as much, but there is a limit to money creation by bank. Yes, this is determined the central bank RBI. The RBI decide a certain number percentage of deposit every bank must keep as a reserve. This is just to ensure that bank co-lending. This is legal requirement is called require reserve ratio or reserve ratio or cash reserve ratio. Apart from this, CRR bank also required to keep some reserve in liquid form of short term. The ratio is called statutory liquidity ratio or SLR. In our financial example, suppose CRR 20%, then the deposit of the deposit of bank need to keep 20% or cash reserve. Only the remaining amount of deposit can be used to give loans. The statutory requirement of the reserve ratio acts as a limit of the amount. We understand this by going back to our fictional example of economy. Let us assume that our bank start with deposit 100 million. The reserve policy tool to control money supply. What are the policy? Reserve Bank is the only institution which carry currency. When commercial bank need more funds to be ordered to create, they may go to market for such. Central bank provide them a fund through the various instruments. The role of RBI, that is wing neutrality bank all time instrument. RBI control money supply in the economy in various ways. The tools used central bank to control money supply can be quantitative or qualitative. Quantitative tools control the extent of money supply by the CRR, when your bank create or open market operation. Commercial bank discourage the encourage in lending, which is done through the moral cession. Margin requirement should be equivalent or not by the central bank change reserve ratio. Reserve ratio. It this would lead to change in lending by the bank, which in turn would impact the deposit of and hence the money supply. In this previously discussed example, what would be the money multiplier if RBI increase the reserve ratio 20%? Notice that the previous case Rs 100 in the reserve rate could be support deposit or what the banking system would not able to loan Rs 300 only. It will have to call back some loans to meet the increased reserve requirement, hence money supply would fall. Another important which influence money supply is open market operation. On market operation refer to the buying and selling of the bond issued by the government in the government. The purchase and sale of the instituted of central bank on the behalf of government. When RBI buy government bond on the open market, it pays the bond giving the check. This check increases the total amount of reserve in the economy and thus increasing money supply. Selling the amount of RBI to private individual institution lead to action or quantitative reserve, hence the money supply. How many time has been passed in this video? About 13 point half. Yeah, good. Is I invisible? Yeah, is it? Legal definition there or broad money. Demonetization was a new initiative taken by government to tackle the problem of corruption, black money, terrorism, or old currency note of Rs 500 had been no longer tender. Now currency notes under demonetization was launched. The public was advised to deposit all currency note in their bank until account till December without any declaration and up to with the with what a water system, water the robot. I think this is class 12 book. Further to about complete background, the crash crunch notes government had been allowed exchange of 4,000 old currency to buy new currency per person per day. Further till some old currency notes were acceptable as a link attender at quarter from government hospital for payment of government use like taxes. The move received both appreciation and criticism. They long queues outside banks and ATM booths. The shortage of the currency in the circulation has adverse impact on economic activities. However, things improved with time and normalcy returned. This move have had a positive impact also. It improved tax compliance as a large amount People were what to tax embed the saving of an individual were channelized into formal financial system. As a result, bank have more resources as a deposit can be deposit, tax aviation, cash compliance. Okay, that's it.